All right, it's your boy, Majab Vernon J.K., Mr. Money Man, aka I do real estate, aka I'm an entrepreneur. What's going on, everybody, man? What we first do, we finna jump into this deal that I done. Just closed it up last month, a little over a couple weeks ago. Uh, as you can see, we got some numbers here. And we're just gonna dive into this, man. I'm gonna break the deal down, tell you where I get the deal from, how I analyze the deal, and at the end of the day, what I walked away with. As you can see, we got a big check that we collected at closing, over $44,000. So let's get it in. Boom. $44,000 at closing. So y'all stay tuned, man. Grab your drink, grab your, whatever you want to grab, and come and roll with your boy. So let's get into it. Okay, now this, as you can see, this was a property. This was actually the last property I just closed. Closed this deal. Actually, and I got the contract here. I like to provide facts. So closed this property actually on the 6th of October, so a little less than a month ago. And this wasn't a wholesale deal. This is strictly just a property rehab. So as you can see up top, we got the purchase price, $35,000. And closing date was on February 1st. Well, actually, it was January 30th. And I'm pretty sure we might have funded. We had to do some wiring and stuff like that before the end of January in order to meet the deadline that the payoff requested. So I purchased this property for $35,000. My contract was originally for $38,000. I ended up having the way we had to structure it, and that's one of the things that in this business, man, you got to be flexible. You got to be a chameleon. So in this particular case, this property actually was a referral. It came from a referral, and actually the person that referred it actually worked in house. They was doing cold calling and stuff like that in house, and just so happened they was doing some driving for dollars and came across a property. So not only did I get paid, but the person that referred it to me got a fat check when I closed on it, $1,500. I always pay nice referrals, so that's probably a good tip. I always be looking to take care of the people that bring you deals. So for me, I normally pay anywhere from $500 to around $2,000, and it really just depends on the potential property or the deal that I'm working. In this case, this person double dipped. They actually got paid twice. They got paid from the referral fee, and then they also got their bonus that I give to any of my team members. In this case, probably was $500. So they walked away with probably like $2,000 at the end of the day from referring this property and actually being part of the team. So that's that. So this property in the seller was actually an heir, meaning someone in their family passed away, didn't have a will and things like that. So they were actually left the property, had to go through probate, things like that. Or sometimes we just utilize an affidavit of heirship. That's another video for another time. But essentially, this person that was selling the property, who I ended up purchasing the property from, was an heir. And the way we needed to work out the contract in order for them to get paid, I had to structure it to where I had to pay them outside of the actual closing. So that $3,000 that I paid them is not on the HUD, but essentially I bought the property for $38,000. Just on the actual HUD, it stays $35,000. So don't get confused with that. Something that tends to happen sometimes. But so that was $38,000. And when we closed on it, after we signed and everything, I made sure that the seller signed, and I just overnighted them a check for $3,000. In this particular property, we had an $7,000 assignment fee. Now, a lot of people might not utilize this, but me, I have different entities, and I also utilize different relationships with different people, uh, whether it's family, partner, JV, whoever, uh, depending on the deal. The deal has to make sense only for this technique to work. I like getting cash back at closing. So does the people that I work with, and we structure deals accordingly. Not everybody do it. It's no, um, I like getting paid. Like if I can buy a property, get a check back at closing, I'm going to try to make that work. I do it sometimes through hard money lenders, private lenders. Uh, Obviously, when you're bonding with your own cash, that tends to not happen. But anytime I utilize a lender, I try to make sure I can get paid at closing. So in this particular case, I did utilize some of my private financing. So I was buying a property for 35,000, 3,000 outside of closing, which is not on the HUD. Uh, I had it was a $7,000 assignment fee that was paid out. Now I want to say now how I structured this. Um, Maybe I should leave that for that. Maybe not. How I structured it is the person on the assignment fee. In this case, we wrote it as a consulting fee. Actually, covered both of these costs. So the 3,000 I paid outside of closing was actually factored into the actual assignment fee. So this assignment contract was for $10,000, made out to a particular person. And we had closing costs right around $4 grand. It was 3,900 bucks. So you add all those numbers up, and the total price at closing was right around $49,000. So now in this particular instance, I got a loan for $90,000. This property was a 2-bedroom, 1 bath. I've never been inside the property. So that's one thing that just over the years of doing so many properties, I'm able to come up with some real rough figures um, that might not be for everybody. Let me say that. Buying property sight unseen is not for everybody. You can really, really lose doing those type of transactions. For me, I've done hundreds of rehabs, properties. So I got a good rule of thumb by walking the property, looking at it from the outside, using best case, worst case scenarios, taking the square footage, things like that, to where I can roughly, in these lower price points, I kind of cap it at a certain figure. You know, Typically anywhere between 35 to 50 grand, and it just really depends on size, what I think I have to do, so on and so forth. But so at this particular case, I took out a $90,000 loan through my private financing. No money out of pocket, and actually, even outside of the assignment fee, I had a $90,000 loan. I structured it to where I was having my lender fund $60,000 at closing. So as you can see, my total price with closing costs and all these other costs associated into it came out to right around 48,907. I actually got a check at closing for $11,245. So not everybody utilize these type of methods, and not all lenders will actually do this. This is relationship based financing. I crept my way in, and this is something that I talk about. When you begin to add value to people, you can get these type of terms to where um, you can walk away from a closing actually no money out of pocket, and you get a nice fat check at closing. So let's just think about it. Let's do a recap here. I bought the property for $35,000. I had a $7,000 assignment fee, had right around $4,000 in closing costs, and I had $3,000 paid outside of closing. Uh, Came out to right around $49,000, give or take, and I ended up walking away with $11,000, over $11,000 at closing. Now, keep in mind that was the fund. This was the actual all-in cost at closing, purchase price wise, and on top of that, the $11,000. Like I said, I got at closing it funded at $60,000. So we not only got the assignment and the consultant fee, uh, the assignment consultant fee and the paid outside of closing. So this assignment was $10,000. So we got that. On top of that, we also got the $11,000. And now that's not just free money. Don't look at it as a free money. Like this is a property that needed a substantial amount of work, and the money was for the rehab. Now, that being said, do you use all the money for the rehab? Hopefully you don't know. But like I said, with this property, it was bought sight unseen. So worst case scenario, best case scenario, I was like, well, okay, maybe I can get in here and rehab it for about 30 grand. That's the amount of funding that I think I had maybe like a $40,000 rehab budget, um, give or take some, and so that's why I did the loan for 90 grand. Um, so we're gonna just keep it moving, man. We're gonna keep it moving. Now, in the midst of that, so we funded on the front side. We funded 60,000. We got another $30,000 on the rehab. Now, as you can see, my rehab all-in cost was right at $52,000. Now I track this in my spreadsheets as well as I do a daily intake of money that I spend on properties. Some people work strictly off of computers. I do it both ways, man. It's just easier for me. Everybody has their own methods. Once you get going, you find you might be a little bit more tech savvy. Have things located in your phones and budgets. I mean, I just utilize what worked for me. Some of y'all might find better solutions. Nevertheless, I purchased it in January 30th. Next day we was in there doing our demo, so essentially February 1st up until the time the rehab was finished, I ended up spending $52,000 rehabbing this property. So you say, well, Jay, uh, Ja, you only had, a $90,000 loan. Correct. So you just got to think if I got 60 up front and I spent 51, 52, now essentially 30,000 of it was still in escrow for the repairs, but that still came out of that 51. So essentially, now I got the 10,000, the 7,000, and I had the 11,000 prior. So you say, well, okay, you got the 30, you got the 11,000, and then you got the 7,000. Now, obviously, the way I structure things, not all of that comes directly back on that assignment consulting fee. That's just a method for me to utilize these particular techniques. That's another story. I'm gonna break it down because maybe I hope I'm not losing y'all, man. If you follow along, if you might be your first deal, so I'm gonna backtrack. You might have to listen to it again, but essentially, what took place was I bought a property. Total funding for this property was $90,000. Now I got funded for $60,000 at closing. And out of that $60,000, little over 11,000 came directly to me for rehab costs, and the remaining balance went to the seller, the assignment fee, the consultant fee, and closing costs. So at the end of the day, between my purchase price and my rehab costs, I was into this property for right around $101,000. So you can see now when buying sight unseen, what can take place. You know, I only had a $90,000 loan on this property, so I was out of pocket. You know, right around $11,000. Now, in my uh, right, I was out of pocket right around $11,000. Uh, Factored in the $90,000 loan and what my total investment was. Put the house on the market, uh, and I ended up getting I listed the house for 157,900. Um, I ended up getting a buyer at 159,900. So essentially, I got a buyer that was willing to pay $2,000 more than what I put the property on the market for. The property did sit for roughly about 30 days, so um, I was actually at a point where I was about to reduce the price, and then we just started getting appointments after appointments showing, and essentially I had went into like a multiple offer situation, uh, literally a day or so before I was about to reduce the price. So uh, that actually worked in my favor because I actually ended up getting more than what I listed the property for. Now, this is the good part. So you can see I'm into this property for right around $101,000. I ended up getting it under contract for $160,000. Um, Now, out of this $160,000, we had, you got your commissions, you got your taxes, you got your title policy fees, and all of these things here. So essentially, that came out to right around $8,500, give or take. And like I say, that includes anything relating to closing costs. Sometimes you have seller concessions, so on and so forth, different things that the seller might want you to do. I actually had some extra repair costs, but I got that up here. Um, Now, so come down here to my holding costs and my payoff. Now, this is the benefit of utilizing private money. Now, like I say, I purchased this property essentially, we say February 1st. Zero money out of pocket, not $1. Um, and over the course, it took me about 4.5, maybe 5 months. I listed the house in July. So essentially 5 months of uh, maybe 4 months of rehab, some off days in there. COVID happened, obviously. So we were shut down for a minute, wasn't moving, people running all frantic. So we probably lost about a good, I would say, 20 days of just downtime just due to COVID and trying to figure that stuff out, man. Maybe even a month. Contractors, walking. So from February 1st to July 10th or so is when I listed this property. Now, by utilizing private money and having that relationship built with my lender, I was actually able to defer all my payments. So let's think about this. No money out of pocket, no money, no mortgage payments, no loan payments, no none of that. So essentially it's just rehab it, get it to the market, and let's see what happens. And obviously that takes time. Not every lender is willing to do that. So you definitely got to work on building those relationships. Um, so my holding costs, essentially we got the $90,000 loan plus those monthly payments, 6 months. Well, we actually didn't close till October. So even though I went under contract in August, I officially signed the contract to sell it in August. So I listed it in July, sat on the market 20, 30 days, and I got an offer in August. Executed it. We actually didn't close till October 5th. So we got 7 months of payments. So, we got that. As far as holding costs, 90,000, some other fees and things in there, and uh, another particular down payment I put on something else. So essentially, my lender got cashed out for $107,000 and $392, leaving me with the difference of that was the profit on this particular property. So you can say for a 8-month time frame, you know, this is what I made on this particular property. Now the thing is, you think about, well, it took 8 months. So over here you can see, if you break that down per month, it's right around $5,500 a month. So it can add up to some good money. Maybe if the time period was shortened, it definitely would have been a lot bigger. But some people don't make this in a year. Some people don't make this in a year. So that's the beauty of what real estate can do for you, man. And so let's recap this. Let's recap it. I'm gonna go back through it and maybe we can bought it all in $48,908, $49,000. I had a rehab right at $52,000. My total investment was $101,000. I got the property sold at $160 with all my payoffs, closing costs, all the fees associated with that was roughly $107,000. I walked away with a check for $44,413.66. Now, a lot of people show you checks. I do wire transfers. Been doing them for years. I'm starting doing checks just so I can have the physical piece of paper showing you. But I ain't got to validate nothing. Most people know, they see my pictures, videos, and this is what it is. That's why I say the Huds don't lie. So this is what I walked away with, $44,413.66. Man, real estate is definitely a beautiful method of creating some wealth, man. If you do it right, you stay consistent and you get with the right people, man. I wasn't doing these type of deals at first. It took me a while to build myself up to this. But the goal is to have 3 of these turning a month, 2 or 3 of these a month, to where, you getting these type of checks on a consistent basis. Now, this is just one avenue. This doesn't include over that 8-month time frame how many wholesale deals I've done. That doesn't include any type of quick flips I do. Just buying them and throwing them right back on the MLS. This doesn't include any type of owner finance properties that, we do. So this is just one particular rehab that yielded a pretty good chunk. And one thing that I like to say, if it's no money out of my pocket, it's all good, man. So get out there, build some relationships, man. And if you want me to go back through this, subscribe, man. Subscribe to the channel. Let me know what you think about this particular property. Do you even have properties in your city for this amount? Can you even buy a property for $35,000? So, and where you at in your real estate journey? If you're new, put beginner in the comments. If you're more advanced, you've done 1 to 5 deals, let me know how many deals you've done, and hopefully with the utilization of this channel, you're able to do more. You create a different mentality, these type of things don't happen. Everybody don't structure their deals this type of way, you know. And when you have the flexibility of being creative, you can get paid at closing, get money back, buying a property, as well as cashing out at the end of the day. So it's your boy Majava and J.K. Mr. Money Man, aka I do real estate, aka I'm an entrepreneur, giving you the news, the blues, and the clues, man, to get your money right, get your pockets right, and ultimately create that family legacy that you've been talking about. Stay tuned for the next one. Peace.